Welcome to the Advice Show, media with a common sense approach. So I want to touch on the murder of Jordan Davis. The trial for the man that killed him, Michael Dunn, is just getting underway. And I wanted to make sure you knew about the murder of Jordan Davis. It happened the same year as Trayvon Martin. Now, I'm going to roll a clip of what happened, and it's going to be like a piece with Jordan Davis's mother. And then after that, I'm going to roll another clip that's going to show you who Michael Dunn really is as a person. It's going to show you out of his own writings that he is a cold-hearted racist. That's just what he is, and that's what motivated, in my opinion, him to shoot at that car full of those young brothers. Let me go ahead and roll the clip.
A case that's been compared to the Trayvon Martin case is about to go to trial in Florida. Michael Dunn is accused of shooting into a car at a gas station, killing a 17-year-old by the name of Jordan Davis back in November of 2012, that is. All after a fight over loud music. Stand your ground laws that made headlines last summer during the George Zimmerman trial may be in play in this case. Here's Drew Griffin.
It was the day after Thanksgiving, Friday, November 23, 2012. 17-year-old Jordan Davis and three friends pulled into a convenience store in Jacksonville, Florida. His dad said they'd been shopping.
Dad, he says, listen, some friends were all going to window shop at Town Center Mall, and he said, can I have some money for food, to hang out with my friends?
Jordan Davis stayed in the back seat of the Dodge Durango as the driver went inside the store. The windows were down. Loud music was on the radio. It was at that moment police say 45-year-old Michael Dunn, driving a black Volkswagen Jetta, pulled into the parking spot right next to them. Dunn was just attending his son's wedding reception with his girlfriend, Rhonda Ruhr, and Ruhr wanted to stop. As she went inside, Michael Dunn says he politely asked the music be turned down. In the Durango, the passenger in the front seat complied, turning down the radio. But Jordan Davis, police say, asked the music be turned back up. Michael Dunn concedes as much in a later police interrogation.
And then the music comes back on, and I'm just like, live and let live, and don't need any trouble.
But there was trouble. Police say what followed was a verbal altercation between Dunn sitting in his car and the other teens sitting in theirs. Interrogated by police, Michael Dunn said it was one of the teens who was trying to escalate the confrontation, threatening, he says, to kill him.
So I put my window down again, and I said, excuse me, are you talking about me? And it was like, kill that bitch. And, I'm still not reacting, but then this guy, goes down on the ground and comes up with something. I thought it was a shotgun. And he goes, you're dead, and he opens his door. And I'm bricks. But that's when I reached in my glove box, unholstered my pistol.
Dunn opened fire, 4 quick shots into the SUV, then 4 more as it sped away. Jordan Davis, the only person hit, was killed. As for Dunn, he told police he and his girlfriend spent the night at a local hotel before driving the 159 miles to his home. He wouldn't be arrested until the next day. Dunn's girlfriend, also questioned by police, her face blurred, tells the police Dunn told her he was firing in self-defense.
I said, what happened? And he said, I shot at the car. And I'm like, we're moving at this time.
Right.
And I said, what car? And he said, the one with the music.
Other witnesses to the shooting told police they never saw the teens getting out of the SUV or approaching Dunn in any way. No weapon, no stick, no threatening object of any kind was found in the teen's possession. Dunn insists he was shooting to save his life, and according to his attorney, plans to use Florida's Stand Your Ground law as his defense. Drew Griffin, CNN, Atlanta.
It's still not clear exactly how the defense will argue their case. Dunn's lawyers just filed a motion last week to delay the trial, but as of now, it is still scheduled to start in 2 weeks, February 3rd. I'm joined now by Jordan Davis's mother, Lucia McBath. She's preparing to go to Jacksonville for the trial, and she has also been very outspoken about stand your ground laws, testifying before a Senate committee alongside Trayvon Martin's parents last year. Good to see you.
Thank you so much.
It's a heartbreaking situation. I can't imagine what you and the entire family are going through, given that you are pushing for advocacy and at the same time you're dealing with this trial and really emotionally trying to prepare for that. So given the outcome of the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman trial in Florida, how might that, in your view, impact this upcoming trial?
Definitely, I would not be telling you the truth if I didn't think about that all the time. It appears to us that the impact of the stand your ground laws, particularly in Florida, have a lot to do with what happened with Trayvon's case. And in fact, since Michael Dunn is espousing the same thing in our case, we believe that the laws are written in such a way that they allow for a lot of ambiguity. And in both cases, the boys were absolutely doing nothing. There was no threat from either one of the boys, in the cases. And the way the laws are written is that even though the boys were not a threat, the initiator of the threat, the initiator in both cases, Zimmerman and Michael Dunn, are allowed to use stand your ground as an immunity and possibly walk away free.
Do you concern yourself that the outcome of the George Zimmerman trial, whether it be the outrage that came from it or even the advocacy for George Zimmerman, that any one of those things might influence this case in that it might change the approach, whether it be from the prosecution's point of view or perhaps even the jurors' responsibility, that their vision of stand your ground may be colored differently as a result of that trial?
I think that the jurors probably have a lot more information now about stand your ground and the influence that it has on the trials. I think that they will probably be more enlightened, spending a lot more time understanding the parameters of the laws to make sure that they're not using them improperly, that they completely understand the impact that they have on the case. I just honestly think that there will definitely be some influence based upon what happened with Zimmerman's case.
And what's your activism now? What message is it that you're trying to convey, whether it be when you were on Capitol Hill or whether you are, in neighborhoods talking to families and talking to young people?
I basically find that what I'm trying to do is educate people, let them completely understand the gun culture in our country, how it is affecting communities, our future generations. The gun culture, I believe, at this point is really fueling a lot of fear. Citizens are in fear of one another. They're in fear of people that they don't know, people that don't think like them, look like them, act like them.
So then what is the answer to that?
I think the answer is educating people to not be so afraid. Here we are on the eve of Martin Luther King, celebration. And everything that he talked about and fought for, it seems to be that people have forgotten those things. As we become more advanced as a civilization here in the United States, it seems that in some regard we're starting to turn back the hands of time, and people are moving back, they're regressing back instead of moving forward into a culture of acceptance, accepting one another, taking responsibility for one another, taking responsibility for making sure that all of us have our rights and, that we are able to live in this country peacefully with one another.
Lucia McBath, thanks so much, and all the best as you continue to embark on what has been an incredible emotional roller coaster.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Pouring of anger from a man locked up in the Duval County Jail as he waits to go on trial for murder. Michael Dunn is charged in the fatal shooting of Wolfson High School student Jordan Davis. Tonight, Channel 4 has obtained letters Dunn has written from behind bars. Channel 4 Scott Johnson has been reading Dunn's outgoing mail and is joining us now live from the Duval County Jail downtown. Scott, who did Dunn
Tom,
write
he
to?
wrote a lot of letters, all these letters, a huge stack over the last year or so. And they were addressed to family members, but I talked to a local attorney who says if you read between the lines, these are really letters to us. Dozens of pages of letters written by Michael Dunn, many of them lashing out at the media, the state attorney's office, and telling his side of the story, like this one from last June. I'm not getting much in the way of sympathy from the press. They're a bunch of liberal, expletive, smiley face. He also lashes out at the teens in the SUV he shot at. I was thinking an easy way to die would be to ask a carload of thugs to turn their stereo down. I sat down with local attorney Gene Nichols. He says these letters were not meant for family because he knew they would be read. In fact, Nichols points out that a couple of times Dunn even writes in code to confuse anyone who might be reading.
So when I read these letters, I initially see that all he's trying to do is to put his own story out there, knowing that we're going to talk about it as soon as they come up, knowing the state's going to get a hold of it, and to try and establish what he believes is a stand your ground defense, and also trying to establish that race is a charging factor in this case.
In this letter to his grandma, he writes, I'm hoping that my attorney is able to get sworn statements or something from those three boys and catch them in their lies. He also writes about the night of the shooting. There was a weapon. I cannot say for sure what it was, as I only saw the top portion of the barrel. To me, it looked like a shotgun. Then in another letter, he gets downright racist. The jail is full of blacks, and they all act like thugs. This may sound a bit radical, but if more people would arm themselves and kill these expletive idiots when they're threatening you, eventually they may take the hint and change their behavior.
If you have one thing that is different in these letters than a statement that you gave to the police or a statement that you may give in trial,
And that's where they could get him.
Absolutely. It'll come back and bite you.
He also writes in the letters a lot about George Zimmerman, the man who eventually got off on charges for killing Trayvon Martin. He says that he's been led to believe in some of these letters he has a stronger case in the defense than Zimmerman did. We're live at the Duval County Jail. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
Scott, how recent are these letters? Were they written shortly after he was arrested, or did they come later?
They've spanned for a long time, Tom. Originally, we thought a lot of the stuff he was writing came shortly after the arrest. Maybe he hadn't had a chance to speak with his attorney, but we looked. Some of this is as recent as late this summer. So he's been writing these for quite a while and hasn't stopped. Tom?
Scott Johnson reporting to us live from downtown. Thank you, Scott.
So you heard the details of what happened to Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis was a student. He didn't cause no trouble to nobody. There was no weapons in the car, anything. He wanted them to turn down their music, like he had some sort of right to tell them to turn down their music. Even if the first kid turned it down and they want to turn it back up, that's on them. All he had to do was leave the gas station after he had to do what he had to do. There are people all the time playing their music at the gas station. You have no right to tell nobody what to do. But yet he felt that, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. And since George Zimmerman got off, what he did to Trayvon Martin, hell, I can do it too. They just black kids. Ain't nobody care about them. Their life's not worth anything in the state of Florida or anywhere else in America, so I can do it. And that's why he decided that he thought it was okay for him to do that. And I say, hey, I got to stand your ground. All I got to say is I was afraid for my life. A grown man, afraid for your life, but you run around with a gun. Why are you so scary for you got a gun, right? That's why sometimes I can't stand a gun, because it makes a coward powerful. Anyway, continuing. So you saw the next piece that came up, and it talked about his letters from jail. What did he use? The code word thug. He kept saying thugs, thugs, thugs. Everybody as black male is a thug. You know what thug means. You know the code wording for thug. Charles Barkley made sure to explain that in an interview. Richard Sherman explained it. I definitely explained it. So we already established what thug means in the area of black males. This guy has stated in a video that if more, and he meant people like himself, would arm themselves and shoot black people when they are threatening you, they will take a hint and just leave you alone. Well, that's odd, because when black people are sitting in a car and not bothering you, listening to music that has nothing to do with you, that's threatening you, and you can kill them. So what, if black people walk down the street, since they're threatening you, then hey, you can shoot them. If they sit in a restaurant, they're threatening you eating a meal or whatever. I mean, that's kind of what we're going to go with in Florida. Understand, Florida has a nasty history of doing things to black people. Like the video I did about alligator babies. A lot of that took place in Florida. You remember the movie Rosewood? What happened in that situation? You don't know about Rosewood? Get the movie. Watch it yourself. How that black town was destroyed and burnt down. Their own town. They wasn't doing nothing to nobody, stuff they built on their own. Okay, Florida has a negative history when it comes to black people. And when he kept saying about liberals, and I keep noticing this term liberal, it's like a cuss word directed at whites who aren't racist. I keep noticing that, because every time I say, oh, these old liberals, it's like, okay, so if you're a white person that's not racist, you just a scum of the earth. I'm just, that's something I keep noticing. And I'm noticing also, and I'm going to put it out there, this current Republican Party that's running around, these Tea Party and all them others running around, I notice that they harbor racists in that party. And I'm not Melissa Harris Perry. I'm not going to cry when I say it. I'm telling you the truth. You prove me wrong if I'm wrong. You shouldn't be saying that about Republicans. Prove me wrong. What organization of Republicans do you see going to the black community trying to reach out to them, say what they're going to try to do for the black community or the Hispanic community or women or whoever else? They don't do it. All they want to focus on is that old racist white male power structure. That's it. Well, women have no rights. Well, blacks have no rights. Hispanic, no minorities have no kind of rights at all. And they feel like, oh, we got to save America. Save America from what? Who are you saving it for? But that's a totally different video, okay? The thing is, this guy is just constantly saying stuff. He is harming his own self, which is great for me. I hope he gets convicted. He needs to get convicted for killing that boy like that. But you got to understand, there's a lot of people running around in America like this. And it's sad. It is so sad. And they got people in the media that may say something, but they got to backpedal because they can't deal with the backlash. Me, I like backlash. I'm used to it already. I'm used to trolls. I'm used to people calling me names and everything else. So, you know, hey, go ahead on, pick a number. I go ahead on and listen to what you got to say too. And then I go on about my business. But the thing is, this is why stand your ground laws in the hands of a racist is dangerous, because that's like a get out of jail free card to kill somebody black. That's what it's mostly used for, as we see. George Zimmerman running around here talking about he going to be in celebrity boxing. I mean, George Zimmerman is like a hero to a racist. You know, he all over the place. He's keeping his name out there like he is some sort of celebrity. I mean, if nobody shouldn't like shake their head and say, you know, what in the hell is going on? Now, this is what I don't understand about black folks. You know, you're so quick to destroy other black people. You're so quick to shut them down. You quick to fight them and do everything else to them. But Zimmerman is all in your face, just doing all kind of stuff. And yet nobody tells Zimmerman nothing. No, he don't feel bad. He don't feel like, man, I'm afraid to walk around here because I don't know if somebody going to try to murk me or not. No, he could. He don't have to worry about nothing. He's saying he a celebrity. He wants to box people. He even opened his mouth now and talking about he want to box Kanye West. And it goes back to what I said about the video about Kanye West. He showed himself as weak. That's why Zimmerman wants to box him. He don't go over here and say, hey, I want to box 50 Cent. Why he don't say that? Game said he'll box him. He don't want to be fooling with Game. He talking about DMX. Well, he feel DMX is old. DMX is, you know, drugged out and everything. So that's why he wants to challenge black rappers who he deemed he could beat. He's just a classic coward. Every racist I've ever seen is a coward. They're not no real man. They hide behind hoods. They hide behind a gun. They are nothing. That's why you put them in a jailhouse situation where they don't have nothing but them hands, and they can't do nothing. They got to have something. They got to have a party. They got to have a weapon. They got to have something. But yeah, they so big and bad. I don't know, like I said, Jordan Davis needs some justice. He really do, because that was wrong to lose your life over for nothing, literally. I mean, look how many times that guy shot into that car. It was no reason to shoot into that car that many times. You were trying to kill somebody. You really were. Hit me up in the comments, use the commentaries, subscribe.